Hi, my name is Eli Kranzberg, and welcome to this series on Stephen Slate's new VirtualMixRack plugin. This is a fantastic sounding series of vintage emulations of analog hardware, and it's a great new modular channel strip type workflow that's really a flexible way of working. So what is the VirtualMixRack? Now, the idea behind this is to create a kind of customizable channel strip where we can move plugins around easily. Now, the idea was inspired by the API 500 series Lunchbox hardware units, and they're designed to hold up to 6 physical processors in them. Now, this VirtualMixRack can house up to 8 modules, and they can be easily configured and reconfigured by just dragging and dropping them around. Now, this VirtualMixRack currently ships with 5 modules that we see on the left here, but it's designed as a modular system with future expansion in mind by way of adding more of these software modules. So conceptually, the way to understand this is that this VirtualMixRack plugin is kind of like the host, and it hosts these modules that are independent. Now, the interface is fairly simple, but we can break it down into 3 sections. We have the preset bar on the top here, and we have an About panel to give us information on the plugin, and then there's various ways of managing presets. We have the library over here, which contains currently 5 modules. And then we have the slots over here. We see 3, but they grow as we keep adding in up to 8 slots. Now, in the library, if you hover your mouse over these little info buttons, you'll see info pertaining to each of these modules, little descriptions and other information. And we have filter buttons at the top to show different categories of plugins. Now, there's only 5 currently, so it's not that big an issue. But as the library of modules grow, you might want to filter them. For example, this first category is for harmonic-based modules. Then we have mastering modules. This is the revival one. We have EQ and we have dynamics. So we just click on them to filter, and you can add the command key on Mac, and that's the control key on Windows, to get more elaborate filtering by having multiple of these categories showing all at once. And if you just command click on all of them, you'll get your full library. Now, we can add a module to a slot rack 2 ways. We can just drag and drop it in like that. Or we can double click. So I'll just double click that one, and it adds it in right next to it. Now, we can grab a module and move it around to another slot, just like that. And you see the empty slot there. So easy to reorganize them like that. And we can also copy them by just option dragging, and that's Alt on PC. So for example, let's say I have this plugin set a certain way and I really like it and I want to duplicate it. I can option drag it, and there it's copied it with the same settings. Now, to remove a module, we can do that one of 2 ways. We can click this little X icon over there, or we can just drag it away from the rack, and you'll see a little trash icon. See that little trash can? Just release it. And we can do that to the left or the right. There's the trash icon again. So 2 different ways of getting rid of them. And we can also drag or copy modules between different racks. So for example, let's say I've got this in here and I've got some EQ set up the way I like it, and I decide I want to have this exact same setup on maybe another one. Let's say on this drum bus, I have another instance of the virtual rack there. It's empty. So I can either move it between the 2 racks just by dragging like that. I'll move it back for a moment. Or I can hold down Option and copy it. So we can copy it between 2 different instances of the rack plugin. Very flexible. So that's a little introduction to the VirtualMixRack, and we'll continue with more in the next video.